La, 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 la. Hey, this is a song for my haters. Yeah, you got me feeling like the greatest.
Rowe dropping the pass in trouble. He gets the pass away over the middle, and it's picked off at the 20-yard line. Dansby makes the interception.
Welcome back. You're now tuned in to an episode of Press Coverage Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, E. Dansby. It's 2024 and the podcast season is upon us. It's February, so you know what that means. It's Black History Month. And today we want to highlight one of our African-American women doing great things in our community. From Johnsonville, South Carolina, a graduate of Coker University, and now a multimedia journalist for WFXG Fox54. It's Allissa Young.
Oh, thank you for having me. Like I was telling you, I'm super excited to be here and just experience your journey.
Right, definitely. I appreciate you coming on, and your, genre. I know you're pretty much, on the mic all the time, doing a lot of stuff and what I'm trying to do. So I'm actually trying to be you, but this in my form, But so Allissa, man, I met you over a year ago, a little bit, almost a year ago at Antonio Hamilton's camp he does out in Johnson, the Trenton every year, man. He comes back and he gives back to the community which he comes from. And, at that time, you were just I met a young, vibrant reporter, just trying to do things in the sports world for Fox and just kind of get that thing started and exploded. But now, one day I looked up and I seen you on the news and I'm like, man, that's my girl right there. I've seen her on she was doing the sports reporter, but now she's on the news every day, on the main TV. So how's that experience been in that transition?
Well, starting out before sports came in, because I came in August of 2022.
Okay.
And kids are getting back in school. And I remember my first question was y'all don't have a sports department here. Do y'all cover football? Do y'all do this? Do y'all do that?
Right.
Because not only am I interested in news in general, but I'm also interested in sports. That's kind of what sparked my interest for news. And so he was like, no. My news director, that is, he was like, no, we don't have anything right now, but if you want to do this, you can.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I kind of dived into that. I went to a couple of Strum Thurmond games. I went to only Strum Thurmond games my first year in. And that's how I kind of got into that sports and was showing them this is good for our company. Right. This is good for the station. This is good for everyone well around because we're the only station here that doesn't have a sports department.
Right. And that's surprising because when you think about, WJBF and WRDW and NBC, they have a football Friday night or they got somebody always covering it. And why not Fox, be a part of that? Because, believe it or not, Fox is a major news outlet. It's definitely here in this area. So why not have it? Why not have people, in tune? Because everybody, tells a story a little bit different when it comes to the sports. Like you may cover Strom Thurmond and somebody who may be covering Richmond or Cross Creek or whatever the school may be, it's different perspectives. And I feel like, if we get each news, company involved, and no one won't be overlooked or overshadowed because one news company can't really cover them all at one time. You know what I mean? So that's like I said. So shout out to you for just coming here, bringing it here to the city. I definitely like I said, we appreciate it from coming from here, man. Growing up here and playing sports here, we definitely appreciate the spotlight you're trying to put on us. Because I was telling someone earlier this week, I feel like our athletes here in this area are not divulged of talent, but we just don't have that spotlight on us that we need to kind of push them out there and thrust them into the main spotlight so they can get that exposure. That's what I feel like the area is lacking, just the exposure for our athletes, football, all sports, what I mean? But it's because there's a lot of talent here. So, first time on the show, so just tell us a little bit about your upbringing in South Carolina and how you, kind of found your passion for sports and sports media.
All right, so I grew up in Johnsonville, South Carolina. It's a small city in Florence County. And so before going to school, my parents was big on not keeping the kids in the house and finding something for you to do. So that's when I started out with Pee Wee basketball. Basketball was my first love.
Okay.
I was playing and then I did rec. Then I kind of fell in love with dance. So I stopped playing ball. But when I got back up into middle school, I thought about playing ball again. And that's when I started cheering and competing for that.
Right.
Got up a little bit more in middle school and I started running track and that was my second love and I just kind of stuck with that because it was kind of hard to cheer and play basketball at the same time. That was kind of weird for the school, going through middle and high school, but track and cheer, that's what I kept doing. Went to state a couple of times, didn't get a ring. We were close to a ring, but we didn't get a ring.
Myself. Yeah, 4x4.
Yes, that was my favorite race.
Yeah.
My favorite race. I love the 4x4. I did speed and distance and I jumped a little bit with a long and triple jump.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up. Like you said, coming from, the area that you come from, sometimes, that's kind of like, is that rural South Carolina? Kind of like rural South Carolina. Sometimes, as a, coming up kind of sports is kind of the only thing you can really lean on. It's not too much to do, but it's, it's not too fast, but it's not too slow. And everyone in the community kind of knows each other. Everybody plays sports. And sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing, you know what I mean? But, shout out to that, just, being in your community, playing sports, just being able to, like you said, find your love for it early. Sometimes, as athletes, some athletes find it early, some athletes find it late, But when you kind of can find it early, you can kind of find your way and your path of where you might want to go with it while actually playing the game and then after the game.
Right.
So, you just, mentioned that you was a multi-sport athlete in high school and you played basketball, young and had a love for that, and, track and cheering. And then at some point, you get a scholarship at Coker University. You want to take your talents to the next level. So just tell us about, your time at Coker, man. How did you find your path, in journalism while at Coker?
Yeah, so just kind of doubling back to like childhood, I just feel like for me in my area, and I feel like for everybody, like when you watch the news, because your parents watch the news every day at 5, 6 o'clock, whatever. And being young, the only thing that really sticks out to you is the weatherman, because he has the graphics and he's this big ball of energy. And that's what stuck out to me. So I was like, I want to be like a weather woman. And I remember when it snowed for the first time in my life, probably like 2006. In Johnsonville, and I actually have videos of this. My dad does, and like I'm over here like reporting the weather.
Gotcha.
But as I got older, and like you have people telling you like you don't get paid for this, you can't get nowhere in this, and then you kind of like I died down a little bit with it, and then I'm like, all right, I'll probably just like go to school to be a nurse.
Yeah.
But I refound my love for that when I got back into sports and just working with like yearbook, working with the news show at the school. Then I get to Coker. And Coker, I was just trying to like find my way, first time.
Gotcha,
It was really my goal to go somewhere where everybody else in Johnsonville didn't.
Yeah,
like, so everybody want to go to USC or they want to go to Francis Marion, not Coastal. I was like, I don't want to see none of y'all.
Right, I got you. Sometimes it's good to get away from where you come from. Like it's a small community, everyone knows each other. Let's get me get away and find something new. I definitely feel that. Like me, coming from here in this area, a lot of the guys that signed from Richmond back in 2010, a lot of those guys kind of went to the same school and stuff. And I was the only guy that kind of went away.
Right.
I, went, 5-6 hours away from home. And I was just like, and I could have, went to Georgia Southern, but I said, nah, I'm gonna go with the rival school. I'm just gonna go away. I'm gonna go against the grain, go against all that and just get away. And just, like you say, sometimes, being in college and meeting new people is something, in hindsight, looking back, has been something that's been great for me because, I developed a lot of relationships that's, currently helping me to this day, so.
Yeah, meeting them and like signing. I actually was reaching out to multiple schools. Like I made a highlight video from like track, like because they recorded our stuff. I put that up. I put like my cheer competitions. That's when schools started reaching out to me. And Coker wasn't like my first choice. Like I had like 3 others before it, but I want to go to Wingate or Furman. And then I went to Coker just to see. And I was like, oh, it reminds me of Wingate. And the thing about that is that they were moving a little bit too slow for me. I was like, oh, I can't wait this long. And like, I think Coker was like the best distance from home.
Gotcha.
And then it gave me what I need,
Right. I got you. Like I said, I've heard that, Coker University, Wingate, I actually played against Wingate University in college maybe once or twice. I don't think they were in the conference, a little bit below us, but we, I think like homecoming, we might have scheduled them, once or twice. So I definitely know about Wingate, definitely heard of Coker
Great
University.
Team too.
So, your senior year comes around at Coker, and like most seniors, we kind of trying to find our way, what profession do we really want to get into? And so in that, we started to do internships. You do an internship for WPDE out in Myrtle Beach, and that's an opportunity that, you say you took on. So just explain that to us and like, what that was, because now you're getting your first shot in the media and kind of, kind of baby stepping into your dreams. So how was that?
That was amazing because like the people I grew up watching on TV, I met them. Like we had Tanya Brown and Ed Piotrowski and Jennifer. Like I met all of them and like worked under them. I went through each department to kind of really see exactly what I wanted to do. Like I told them like, I want to be an MJ, I want to be a reporter. And then work my way up to like anchor or something, but I have an interest in sports. Gotcha. And so they kind of put me with my least interest and worked my way to my highest. So I spent 2 weeks with like directors or editors and 2 weeks with producing, 2 weeks with digital media, all that stuff until I worked up with reporting. And I was under Tanya Brown and another reporter / anchor. His name is Simon Williams.
Okay.
And they kind of just like showed me the ins and outs. Like I went places with them. I saw the right way to write a script, how you use the correct inflection for certain things, like go into actual stories and events. That was kind of like mind-boggling just to see them in action because you only see what they produce on TV. So it really, they let me loose a little bit with filming my own stuff and how I would tell it because everybody tells their story, other stories different.
Right, definitely.
And so when I was going through that, I was like, I'm really gonna do this. Like, this is something I really want to do.
Yeah. Man, I tell people all the time, if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. You found your passion. This is what you love doing. So it's not really work. It's just, you're just, moving in your process. You walking in your purpose. So, it's never really work. So, ultimately college comes to an end. You graduate from Coker in 2022 and you embark on an opportunity here in Augusta, WFXG Fox54, to give you an opportunity to become a multimedia journalist. So, just tell us about, your little short time here at WFXG. How's that been for you?
I definitely didn't expect to end up in Georgia.
Okay.
Even though, like, in school, I was like, I want to move to Georgia one day. I didn't really expect it.
Not Augusta, but probably like Atlanta or something like that.
I never really thought I would be here. And it happened, I wouldn't say it happened so quickly, but it really, like, I graduated in May and then I spent the summer traveling the world and I came back and I waited like a month or two before just weighing different stations that were giving me offers.
Right.
And I came here and it was just like one of my main criteria for stations that I didn't want to go too far from home.
Gotcha.
So in case something happens, I could just get there.
Gotcha.
And just being here, I met so many great people within my station and worked with a lot of great people. Some are still there. Some moved on to bigger things, bigger markets.
Yeah.
And I realized that Augusta is a great starting place. Great starting market. And the different people I had the opportunity to meet, like I went to the football camp in Johnston. That's where
Antonio.
I met you. I met James Brown's daughter. I did a couple pieces with her.
Okay.
I met like so many people just in here in general, like had the opportunity to go to Peach Jam and kind of like mix and mingle with like, the NBA stars. Like I met Westbrook and I met CP3. Didn't meet LeBron. I was trying, but I couldn't catch him. And I just look at it as so many opportunities and just kind of finding my own way of how I like to tell things going into it. Because, a lot of people may think going into it, you have to like sound the same or be a specific way.
Right.
And for me, just like how the way I talk, the Geechee kind of country, whatever from where I'm from, I had to kind of
Charleston kind of.
I had to like tone that down a bit just so I could like older people could understand because we know like nowadays older people watch the news. So that's our target audience. So I have to make sure I'm clear enough that they can understand me. But I also learned how to write things in a specific way and kind of like keep it to where it's still me. Right.
Like you said, coming to Augusta, this is an area, like I said, it's a great start. I've met, many different people, over the years, from me playing sports and me coming back, starting my podcast. Colin Cody was one of the guys that I was really cool with. He, going on to Memphis now and doing great things out that way. But, just coming here and being able to network with just so many different people. Like, you probably worked with Jay Jeffries. I had the opportunity to meet him, man. He's a funny guy.
Character.
Yeah, he is. He's a funny guy. I met him one time, a couple times before I, bumped into him and just kind of, brush shoulders with him and kind of, picked his brain and stuff like that. But it's definitely right before I almost, started the podcast. And like I said, I know it's probably been a great experience for you just coming here, just networking with so many different people. Augusta is not a big, major city, but it is a city that has a lot of people coming in and out. And you can just kind of, mingle and network with them and kind of just, feel your way. So I feel that. So, it's no secret, man, that, in today's news climate, Fox News is a conservative station. And, when it comes to covering sports, you was telling me, kind of off the air that, you kind of have to kind of leverage things like what you want to cover, trying to push sports more. So, in the range of the topics of what you might want to cover. So, and it's kind of different from probably working for ABC or NBC, where they kind of may give their young reporters more range to kind of open and talk about different topics. I don't know for sure, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I know it's, with Fox that's more conservative, that doesn't really cover in sports here, I know you probably, like you said, had to leverage for a few things. So, how was that been, trying to just compromise with the news station, kind of being young, and they're like, well, she's young, and, we're just gonna, but, like you've been doing pretty good, like they respect you, pretty well, and you're definitely moving up and advancing in that, in your career. So, how has it been? You just, I guess, compromising with them and just trying to get your things out that you want to cover?
Yeah, it's been a battle, honestly.
Okay.
Like it was a lot of conversations, just like, we need to do this and this is why. Like, y'all are saying y'all want to bring in more viewers and y'all don't know where y'all could do it. And I'm telling you, it's in these kids. I guess kids that are in sports in schools. Like I was like, that's what we did back home. And old people love kids. Like, they
love kids.
They want to know what's going on, but they love to see something like that kids are doing, and that makes them happy. So that's kind of what I led with a lot, with just pushing the sports things out there because, I mean, it was just me going to different little things. And this past football season, we launched our official kind of like sports show for football. It's called The Score.
Okay,
and I really enjoyed that. I was on mornings that time, and I did I came back to work Friday night just to shoot football games, and we had like 4 of the reporters who were like going to different places just to get that wide range of coverage. Gotcha. And I kind of what really sparked that is then when one of our producers came in. He's really passionate about sports and he does a great job, and we got a photog and he's passionate about sports. So that kind of like pushed it even more because it wasn't just me talking like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this. You got like 2 other people now it's 3 of us. Right. This is what needs to be done.
Right. You got some backup now, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's do this. Let's, get it out there so we can, like you said, get a bigger audience. Because, at the end of the day, it's, WWF, WRDW, NBC, Fox. It's all about, it's actually a competition, and it's all about, the viewers and how many viewers can you get and being number one. Definitely everyone's trying to get the news out, but it is a competition at the end of the day, for us to be in the business, So, and this is a time where I try to get your opinion because, as a, African-American woman, in the profession. So let's just talk about the profession itself, right? I say in the past 10 to 15 years, we've seen an explosion of women in sports. And when I say sports, it's not, women's sports or women basketball or softball. We're talking about all sports, whether it's football, the NBA, golf, even UFC, on the male side. So, what do you believe? Well, I say, what do you believe? But why do you believe we've seen such a increase or a rise in women in all sports these days?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand with like the new generation of people coming out. When you think about history and how women had to fight for their rights. Gotcha. And then once they got that, it was still kind of hard because not only, okay, we're going to give you the same opportunity as the male individuals, but you're going to get paid less. Yeah. And so I would just say for like my generation specifically is that we don't tend to let that pushback stop us and really not really prove ourselves, but like just showing you that we can do it. Right. And I mean, you see a lot of people popping up more and more each day. Like Definitely. We just got, when I came into like the station, we had 2 male reporters. Gotcha. And like RS is now part-time. Jared went on to do something else with media in a different station. But then we just hired a new guy, but there's still like 4 or 5 girls. Gotcha. And then in the other stations, it's still like 4 or 5 girls. Right. And like, it's just that we're just moving in and just kind of like making known that we're capable as well. Definitely. And these women out in sports, they're getting paid more, if not just the same. Right. Because of their abilities. It's just like pushing and showing them that just because I'm a woman or I'm a female, I'm a girl, I don't know what's going on, but I actually do. And it's all about different perspectives. Yeah, no, different perspective. And I, just, being a person that, played collegiate sports, had some pro experience, I've been interviewed by more women than men. And I felt that, the interview from the women have been better, and just in my perspective and my experience is that the women come with a little bit more open. They're a little bit more open-minded. They want to kind of see what I think as the athlete a little bit more. The males kind of come in with a more of a closed mind. This is the questions I want to ask. I'm not going to, Statistics.
Yeah. I'm just going to, this the stats on it. I'm going to ask this and then I'm done. With them, they're more kind of trying to see, who are you? Just depending on the interview, who you are, what happened, your perspective, her perspective. It's kind of more of an open dialogue within that interview with the female, just from my experience, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure other, male athletes can probably attest to that. And, in the days where when you cut on the TV today, you just cut on ESPN and Malika Andrews is, number one. You look at the NFL and you got, what's her name, Pam Oliver. She's been in the NFL for, over probably 15, 20 years and she's, been dominating that. Then you got Lisa Salters who's done, multiple things within, different sports, NBA, NFL, the Olympics. So we see our women, our African-American women doing so many great things, not just African-American women, but just women in general coming into a male-dominated field, and just, not taking over, well, somewhat taking over, but just saying, hey, I can do this too, and we're worthy of being acknowledged for it. Right. And that's it's big, and that's courage, to kind of go into a field where is not dominated by your type, and then come in and say, we can do this. We're just as good as the males. We're just as knowledgeable as the male. We may have not played the male sport, but we're studying and we have our notes and we're doing different things to kind of change media to make it for the better. And so I just definitely, respect that. And, it's going on, Augusta, it's a small, metropolitan area. We kind of talked about that a little earlier. But, in your profession, everyone wants to advance at some point. So, I'm pretty sure you may want to advance. We kind of talked about it a little bit, off the air. So what's like ultimately, what do you want to do with this journalism thing?
Like, I just want to go as far as I can go with it,
Gotcha.
I feel like I'm a great personality.
For sure.
In a way. So like sticking with news, if I do, that's great. If I don't, that's still great because I still want to be in media and entertainment. I believe I have the personality for it. And like, I just love talking to people.
Right.
But ultimately, like I want to have something with both where I could still do sports and entertainment.
Gotcha.
Speaking of Malika Andrews, I actually like met her in Birmingham in August. I went to a convention.
Okay. Yeah.
And I met her and I met like folks who works for ESPN and the sports and other stations. And I was just like talking to them and they were like telling me like, you should find something with both until that spot you want opens up or
Gotcha.
something that's exactly what you want open up. So I want to be in a position where I could have the luxuries of both, like a station or a company that there's like an NFL team, an NBA team. And I still have my sports element as well as I could do other things like entertainment and news. So, I mean, I've been looking at other places. Like I was telling you, I probably want to end up in Charlotte, things like that.
Nice. Yeah.
I cut Atlanta off my list because I cannot. I covered the Falcons a couple of times within this past year. And the traffic and the roads were just crazy. And I was like, I can't handle this.
Yeah. Atlanta's definitely overpopulated for sure. And you see a lot of people from Atlanta kind of migrating towards Charlotte. Charlotte is like the new Atlanta. To me, like I said, I was in Charlotte for a brief moment in 2016, with Carolina the year after they came back from the Super Bowl. And Charlotte is a great city to live in, especially if you're young, you're aspiring, you want, come out in a good economy, somewhere you can come and grow. Charlotte is definitely a place that's on the up and up. And there's many other places out here in America that's on the up and up. But here in the Southeast, Charlotte is definitely a place that's, that's on the rise. And that was 8 years ago when I was there. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. How time just passes by. Man, it was almost 10 years ago that I was in Charlotte, but it was definitely a growing city at that point. Now it's grown even more. There's so many different opportunities out there because, you got different colleges now getting football teams and getting basketball teams where they were just like kind of basketball based or football based. Now the economy is growing, the city is growing. Now they got more money coming into that area, so the colleges are growing as well.
They're definitely trying to branch out more. And, really, I probably went to Charlotte probably like 4 years ago, the last time I've been. And then, LaMelo, around that time, he just signed with the Hornets. And now they got Bryce Young in and all of them. So, like, they're getting, like, a lot of love out there right now. Yeah.
And they are. And it's a different Carolina Panther. When I was there, coming off a Super Bowl, and, Cam was the man. And I think Josh Norman, he had just left for Washington. And, James Bradbury was there. But it was, like, on the up and up. And now I kind of see the Panthers kind of just, like, in the dumps. And I was like, man, it's so different, from when I was there. The Panthers definitely had the city, like,
on lock.
Yeah, they had the city on lock. They were the team because when you think about, Carolina, those Carolinas don't have a sports team. And I grew up a Washington Redskins fan. A lot of people from North Carolina, South Carolina, they were Redskins fans, or Falcon fans. But now you see that Carolina Panther, that fan base just took off, especially when Cam came. And they've had some, success before Cam, going to the Super Bowl with Steve Smith, Jake Delhomme. They've had some, some good years, but Cam kind of came there, revolutionized that thing, and, kind of took it and done it in his own way. And, it was something great for Charlotte. And I enjoyed it. I was on there a year, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it to the utmost. So, kind of in closing, this, I want to get it from your vantage point, from me, like I said, a person, I believe that, that's walking with the purpose, in their purpose, what would be your advice to, just young women in general, just going into male-dominated fields, whatever it may be, to go and compete? What would be your advice to them?
Just do it. Like, if that's something you really, really want to do, push and, like, just take those steps. Like, necessarily, you don't need I got a degree in communications and psychology counseling. Gotcha. You don't necessarily need a journalism degree.
Okay.
You don't need a communication degree. You just need a degree. And just go out there, shoot. If you're passionate in sports, have your sports highlights that you shot. Maybe if you talking, interviewing people, just put your work together and push it out there to news directors. Because if you don't think about it, like the number one station, like one good station in Greenville is WYFF. They take people right out of school and they're like number one in their market. And so you won't know unless you try. And that's one thing that people need to understand more and that you should go for. Like, if you want to do it, just try.
Just try.
Because if somebody tells you no, everybody else is not going to tell you no. Yeah. And it's really not hard to get within media. And they always tell you, it's also who you know. Yeah. But then if you didn't, like, I didn't know anybody really. besides the people I interned with. And I didn't necessarily want to start off my career there. But if you just talk to people, you know, use LinkedIn to your advantage, you can go to conventions. When I was really heavy trying to do like run out the gate with sports reporting, I went to like teamwork events. But yeah, just put yourself out there because everybody's watching and you don't know who could be watching or liking your video or sharing your video. But if you have it in your mind and you're determined, you can do it. Because I mean, I had people telling me you can't do this. I was just talking to my friend yesterday and he was like, you know what? It's wild to think about it that in high school you were like, you're going to be on TV. Yeah. And then he was like, I'm not like, I never thought you couldn't, but I just didn't think it would happen so fast. Like you went to school and the next thing you know, you're like, watch me at 6. And that's how easy it could be. Well, not easy, but that's just how simple it can be.
Yeah, that's how God can work so fast that, you know, he can come in and change things. Like I said, I tell people all the time, and this is something I live by, you know, sometimes you have a vision and a dream that God gave you, but God gave it to you. So other people's not going to see what God gave you. Exactly. So you have to believe and manifest in your own self and just be determined. And I kind of took that with the podcast, you know, kind of being, you know, played sports all my life. You know, my, you know, professional career, this played like 3 or 4 years, got a credit for 3 years. So I didn't get to actually play and do the things I wanted to on a professional level like I wanted to. So I had to come back home and find another way. And just like you said, someone told me, hey man, just do it. You know, you like to talk, man. You know, you're knowledgeable about, you know, different stuff. Just do it. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to be like Nike. I'm just going to do it.
That's exactly
and I just go, you know, and I had to know this different there. I knew a lot of professional athletes from being in the, you know, just being in the world, you know, just being around Augusta. I knew so many people and I knew I could get people in here. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try for it. And I'm going to, you know, I'm going to shoot for the moon and land in the stars somewhere.
Yeah, you have your faith and, you know, just your trust in God, you know, if that's your religion. But for me, trusting God and just keep pushing. Like you said, a purpose, manifest, and just your given talents. Like if that's your talent, go with it and make something out of it.
Yeah, that's it. But Allissa, hey, I definitely appreciate your time. You coming down here this morning talking with us. It's definitely appreciated. Like since I met you, it's definitely been nothing but just good vibes, you know, good energy. And like I said, I definitely appreciate you coming on, you know, the Press Coverage Podcast and just, you know, ingratiating our show with your presence and just, you know, coming here and sharing your story. I'm sitting down here with WFXG Multimedia journalist Allissa Young. Thank you. We definitely appreciate you. We're out.
Hey, this is a song for my haters. Yeah, you got me feeling like the greatest.